Exactly. And the other part that you have to think about is, yes, there's the ride-hailing part. So we're going to have to figure out just how much of a part of the company that is. But think of all the other parts of Uber. We're talking about e-bikes, e-scooters, which you've seen me on so many times right here on the show. You've got driverless cars, and then you've even got flying cars that they're investing in. So it makes it very difficult to try and price a company like that. And of course, the market doesn't have a good history of pricing companies very well in the IPO. Just look at Twitter or Snap, for example. What's interesting here, Richard, is that SoftBank stock down 7%, mainly on fears from investors about some type of sanction going against Saudi Arabia, even though all of the analysts we spoke to have said they don't see any sanctions. That's not in the cards, they believe. But what they do think could happen is the same pressure that you were just talking about on the business and tech community not to attend Davos in the desert could spread to investment. You mentioned some of the companies. I made a list. If you look at it, Uber, WeWork, Didi Chuxing, the Chinese version of Uber, and Slack have all taken investment. So what the analysts say could happen is all that pressure could add up. But that hasn't happened yet. I have tried to contact all these companies, Richard, and either I've gotten a no comment or I've gotten no response whatsoever when it comes to their investments that they've received from Saudi Arabia. Much easier to pull out of a conference than it is to pull an investment. Julia, remember all those people who told you that they were quitting Facebook? Well, maybe they did, but only for a few days, and it looks like they certainly did not delete the app. Let me just put on the screen for you the 3 takeaways that I really have looking at this blockbuster earnings report. It really took Wall Street by surprise. So let's start with number 1. You can have a terrible year PR-wise if you're Facebook, but still have incredible sales. What I'm really thinking here is, well, where else are people going to go for digital advertising? What we hear over and over again from advertisers is that Facebook gets them to an audience, that millennial audience oftentimes, that other platforms just can't do. Number 2, Facebook is shifting away from its core platform. Just like Apple's not going to report on iPhone anymore, Facebook will no longer report on how many active users they have on the core Facebook app. Instead, they'll report larger numbers about Facebook, Messenger, WhatsApp, and Instagram. Look out for more ads on Instagram. That's why the market is up. They're liking that. But one important point that we can't miss here, fake accounts up 27%, Julia. That's up to 116 million accounts now. So even though Sheryl Sandberg said after the call, we have proved that we can protect this platform, spend on security, at the same time be profitable, well, that number really calls into question Sheryl Sandberg's statement right there.
First, I want to go to Samuel Burke at New Scotland Yard with the very latest on the investigation.
Joining me now, CNN Money's business and technology correspondent Samuel Burke.
Samuel Burke has tracked her down.
Welcome to iReport for CNN. I'm Samuel Burke in London. ¿Qué tal? Les saluda Samuel Burke. Bienvenidos al Cibercafé Express. He was known by both police and MI5. And this gets to this very important question that is growing here in the UK about A, what type of resources the police have, what type of resources have been cut, and B, what they're doing with the information that they do get about these people.
CNN's Samuel Burke has been monitoring the investigation into the attack and the response from social media companies.
Christiane, to understand this in the clearest way possible, you have to divide this into 2 categories. Police out on the streets of Paris to see if it's been a 3rd consecutive night of those mysterious drones hovering above the city. 3 periodistas del canal de noticias Al Jazeera fueron detenidos el miércoles por supuestamente haber volado drones dentro de la ciudad de París. Mr. Prime Minister, you must see what's happening between the police and conflict sometimes with citizens in the United States. It's not just about calling emergency services. Sometimes the incidents are after the police are involved. Do you think that this is a tool that people could use if they're having a problem with law enforcement?
Yeah, they probably could be used. I think that the law enforcement can use it for those police departments who did not yet
have the body cams.
The personal cameras for everyone. It could be very effective.
President Obama has been working to repair the relationship between the United States and Latin America, going to Cuba, the rapprochement with Argentina. He's done all of this work, and if candidate Donald Trump became President Donald Trump, do you think that some of that would be undone?
I hope that whoever is elected, it's somebody who understands the role of Latin America.
Do you think that's bigger than Theresa May or Donald Trump, that this is kind
No,
of a bigger
you're
picture?
looking at it, Samuel, I would look at it different. This is an emerging activity that's happening.
What do you do as a leader to make sure that when you're the head of a company, be it Twitter or be it Square, to make sure that your employees aren't able to access people's account information? There's a lot about this in the news because of Uber.
Well, I think first and foremost, this has to be part of the DNA, and it has to start very, very early on. So this is something that we did pretty early on in terms of just making sure that we're putting the customer first, and their data is their data.
But if the pound keeps on tanking and so it's weak against the dollar, will you just increase prices every single time, or will there eventually be a limit and you say we've got to make it so it's at least affordable for the UK market?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, ultimately that's the test, which is you got to be able to participate in a country where there's broad adoption.
Your predecessor was a very successful guy. Many people liked him. They thought he was a good businessman. Do you feel that you were brought in after a rather short tenure from your predecessor to be the guy who makes Ford into a tech company? Is that a fair way to describe your entrance?
Yeah, in the future, the technology and the transportation systems and the vehicles are going to be so closely matched that it becomes a new design problem. And that's where I have expertise, and I think why I was asked to be brought in.
So it sounds like you're saying this is a good thing, where we hear a lot of businesses very frightened. Are you just not wanting to tick off the president, or do you think this is actually a good time for you to reassess with this reason, the tariffs?
We're fortunate that we have a very focused product line, and we have manufacturing partners that already have some facilities outside of China.
La compañía admite que hizo los cambios sin avisar a sus usuarios. Te lleva a todos lados del mundo con un grupo de personas que disfrutan de pasar la mañana juntos.
Samuel, I have come to expect that when I'm looking at something online, I'm leaving a marker or a cookie. But is there some level of microphone or camera surveillance from my phone as well?
Michael, there have been cases of hackers accessing the cameras and microphones on our smartphones. The smartphone makers have quickly patched that.
All right, so tell me what's going on in this puppy.
You're in charge of everything, but the car will make sure that you don't hit anything.
Brooklyn's biggest arena, Barclays Center, is sold out. The DJ, Kygo, didn't write these lyrics, and he doesn't even have an album out, but that hasn't stopped 20,000 people from paying top dollar to see him tonight. Fuera del escenario, todos se refieren a Kygo por su verdadero nombre, Kira. Aquí está el lugar. ¿Has estado antes?
No, nunca.
Este noruego de 24 años ha alcanzado 1,000 millones de transmisiones en Spotify, más rápido que cualquier otro músico del mundo. I have something I really need to ask you. What's the meaning of life?
42, of course.
Alexa. Wrong robot, sorry. I've been dating somebody else who also has artificial intelligence.
Intelligence is an appreciable quality. You look like you need a hug. Mmm.